There's a new push to try and make a fundamental change in Oregon's elections process. We're talking about opening up primary elections to all voters, so it's not just the Ds voting for the Ds and the Rs voting for the Rs. And the effort has an unlikely champion this time around. It's our big story tonight.
I have run as the standard bearer for the Democratic Party. I am a registered Democrat. I am a proud Democrat, but I know when the system needs to change.
Ted Kulongoski is a former two-term governor of Oregon from 2003 to 2011. Before that, starting in the 1970s, he served in both houses of the state legislature, was insurance commissioner, then Oregon Attorney General, and Kulongoski sat as a justice on the state Supreme Court. So he's got a lot of experience. Now he's chief petitioner of two initiatives, 55 and 56, that would amend the state constitution to end partisan primaries, opening up the primary election process to all voters. It would install a top two system to earn a spot in general elections, no matter party affiliation or lack thereof.
All of the non-affiliated voters and the independent voters are paying taxes to the state to run the state election. So their taxes are funding these elections, but we're not allowing them to vote. And I think that's wrong. And I don't think it's fair. And I think the public is probably going to come to the same conclusion I do. Now is the time to open up the primary system.
So let's talk about those non-affiliated voters, because they are now a big part of Oregon's electorate. In fact, the latest data from Oregon's Elections Division shows they're now the biggest, with more non-affiliated voters on the rolls than Republicans or Democrats. By the numbers, Oregon has over 729,000 registered Republicans and more than 987,000 registered Democrats, compared to 1.1 million non-affiliated voters, 37% of Oregon voters avoiding a party label. Throw in minor parties like independents and libertarians, and you're up to 44% of Oregonians getting no say in primary elections.
They do not get to vote. In 21 of the 36 counties in Oregon, the non-affiliated voters outnumber the Republicans and the Democrats. In 5 of the 6 congressional districts, the non-affiliated voters outnumber the Republicans and the Democrats. And I actually don't think Oregon's getting everything it should from its citizenry if you don't allow them to vote.
That statement coming from a man who for decades arguably did more than anyone to solidify Democrats' control of Oregon politics. Early on in his career, Kulongoski wrote the legislation that succeeded in giving public employees the right to unionize, creating what you could call a huge special interest group that votes blue. Opening up primaries is not something party loyalists generally support, and Kulongoski says he's getting calls. I mean, you were a man who was a part of the machine, the political machine, and so you know full well it's hard to change the machine. The machine doesn't want to change.
It is. It's unfortunately, it's about power, control. It is about doing it our way being the politician's way rather than the public's way. And I think that's what the frustration is with the citizens today.
Times have changed for sure. The last measure going for open primaries in Oregon was in 2014, and it failed miserably when the percentage of non-affiliated voters in the state was just 24%. By the way, the Oregon motor voter provision plays a big part in driving up that percentage to where it is today, according to Kulongoski.
That when you get your license, you can register. So you've got a lot of people registering their cars and getting their license. They are registering non-affiliated, but in that group of non-affiliated are a lot of currently registered Republicans and Democrats who are opting out of being in the two major parties and are registering as non-affiliated.
So the writing is on the wall, and the former leader of Democrats at 85 years old is sharply focused, working with a Republican and an independent party leader to collect enough signatures to get initiatives 55 and 56 on the ballot next November. It may not be what the major parties want, but Kulongoski thinks voters want change.
They're unhappy with their government, they're unhappy with their party. And I think that having more people involved in the process, having the two major parties have to ask that 1.3 million people what's your opinion in this primary election? And reach out to them. I think the governmental process will be better for one major reason. It will moderate the system. Instead of extremes, I'm in the search for the middle.
Now, Kulongoski told me he does not expect that the state legislature is ready for this type of change to the primaries. He believes they wouldn't have the numbers to approve a bill to make it happen. And that's why this is going through the initiative process of gathering signatures to try and get it on the midterm election ballot next year. So what do you think of this idea? Do you support open primaries, allowing all voters to weigh in on final candidates from each party? Why or why not? Email the story at kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.